Hi, gang. It's Joe Ayers here again. We're in this series about questions I've been asked about writing novels in particular. And before we get to that, we refer you to my website. It's joeayerscares.com. And if you want to check out a whole bunch of stuff about me, go ahead and go to that website. There's tons of things on there. But if you're only interested in novels I've written, go to the menus tab, find novels, click on that, and they'll all be listed there. And you can check out some samples or whatever. If you want to know more about me, you go to the About Me tab, and there'll be all kinds of things. But if you want to know about my writing, that doesn't have to do with novels, go to my Vita, and all of the things that I wrote as an academic are there, and you can access that if you want to. Um, I'd only do that if you're interested in being bored, because academic writing tends to be a bit on the boring side, but it is useful if you want to know a whole lot about communication apprehension and how that influences people and how you can overcome your fear of talking to other people in public speaking, interpersonal settings, or whatever. Um, Most of the articles that I wrote have to do with that. So if you really want to know about that, go ahead and have a look at all of those things, the articles as well as the books. One of the books is a component theory of communication apprehension. It's a comprehensive look at how communication apprehension develops, what its elements are, and how those various elements can be remediated if need be. Anyway, that's the academic stuff. We're here to talk about the creative writing, the novels, and questions that people have asked. One of the questions is, in one form or another, uh, where do you get your plots, and how do you develop the plots, and what's the relationship between the characters and the plots? Um, Generally, with me, the plot comes first, and then the characters kind of fill in inside that plot. So, in the most recent novel that I'm working on, which has to do with child pornography, I had not examined that in any of the other novels. Touched on it a little bit here and there, but not directly on that particular topic. So that was the general idea of what I wanted to do. I wanted to examine child pornography and see what might be able to do about it in a novel form. The way I decided to do it was simply take a person who had been exploited that way and start back when they were born and follow their life story through. And what happens as you're doing that and you develop the character, there are things that are going to cause you to look at your plot and the elements of the plot differently. The characters of the plot are intertwined. For me, the plot comes first, but the characters tend to change the nature of the plot as you go along. And it's a fluid, dynamic process. You can't just say the plot comes first and then you do the characters. No, what happens with me is the plot comes first and then the characters influence the plot. And we wind up in a different place than I thought I was going to wind up in the first place. There's very little that can be done about that because it just forces you to do that. Once you've decided one thing about a character, then other things follow from that, and in turn that influences the plot. So in general, the plot comes first with me, and then the characters come in, and as that characters flow along their timeline, I usually use a timeline earlier to later. Uh, and as things develop, it alters the plot a bit. There's an interrelationship between the two. So that's it from my perspective on plots and characters and which comes first.